Hello, everyone, and welcome to the September 9th of 2024 Mother Mary Monthly Message. Thank you so much for joining, whether you're on the call right now or you look at it later. I've been doing this now for quite a long time. I think I'm up to almost 10 years of Mother Mary messages. And yet at the same time, for me, they're always new, they're always different, and they're always about how to feel and experience more light and more love. And Mother Mary told me one time when I asked her, why do you keep coming? 2,000 years, aren't you sick of this? And she said, daughter, you are still all learning the power of love. So that's a little daunting, isn't it? But nonetheless, I keep showing up, and I thank you all for showing up, because tonight's message may be just slightly different. They are all about love, treating yourself with kindness, treating each other with kindness, and creating the world that we're really happy to live in. Imagine that, a world we're happy to live in. So, oh well. So my name's Tamara Grace, and I've been channeling Mother Mary for about 25 years now. So she and I are like twins in my body sometimes. But in a moment, I'll just shut my eyes and bring her through. Her voice is a little bit different than mine, but her wisdom is way above my pay grade. So I hope you enjoy it. And again, thank you so much for coming, because whenever we gather like this and share messages of love and light, I believe that we're changing ourselves and therefore making the world brighter. So. Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome and welcome and welcome. And I do think tonight might be just slightly different from the past, because all the time I talk to you about love, and most of the time you're sort of nodding your heads. Well, I think I may have missed a piece of it for you, and that is something Mother Teresa said that perhaps will, help a little bit. She said, prayer without action is no prayer at all. And love without action is really not love. Love isn't really just sort of a concept. It's not just, oh, I love ice cream, or I love my puppy or something like that. It really means that you've adjusted your heart and your mind and your being to proceed in this life as an agent of love, meaning that you have to do your very best to love your life, to love your friends and family, to love the earth, to do whatever's in your heart and in your power to keep that love alive within this earthly plane. Because right now, it's a little bit dissonant, as most of you have noticed. And so I want to talk to you about, how do I know what action is mine to take? Because I know a lot of you are already very good-hearted, very, very kind and wise in so many ways. But I think the thing I want to talk about is really, shall we say, the star seed of wisdom within you. So when each of you incarnated, you had sort of a star seed, for want of a better description, implanted with you in your soul, in your heart, in your mind, in your body, which was yours to keep alive and allow to shine. And so for many people, it becomes obscured in a life devoted to other people, devoted to being a good man or good woman. It becomes hard to see. And sometimes it's sort of like, well, I'm a pretty good person. I'm pretty loving. What more could I possibly do? And I think I want to talk to you about, what is it that obscures your light? And for the most part, I want to say it has to do with complacency and inertia. You see, you didn't know you were going to get a lecture tonight, did you? Complacency and inertia. So complacency is all about, well, things are okay right now. I don't want to rock the boat. It's okay. Just because I don't really care to make a change, because I'm afraid of what might happen if I do something else. What if I offend someone? What if they react a certain way? What if this, what if this, what if this, what if that? And so you create this entire obstacle course in your mind that may or may not exist. And then you just sort of settle back into your easy chair and, count your blessings, which is lovely. It's lovely to count your blessings. It's lovely to live in gratitude. But that in and of itself creates a sort of inertia. Have any of you felt like maybe there's a little bit of inertia in your lives? Oh, just a little bit, right? And so realizing that this complacency, meaning, well, I'm a pretty good person. I've done a lot. I'm kind. I'm loving. I drop money in certain causes. I feed myself and my friend. It's like you can sort of justify a lot of things. But everything in the world right now, in your life and the lives of everyone, is a result of choices that were made or not made. Everything in the world right now is a result of choices that were made, or in some cases, not made. So in your life right now, there's a level of comfort and complacency about, well, I've done pretty well. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that now is this opportunity, now is this time to really reach for something more, to realize at whatever age, at whatever point in time you leave this planet, I want you to be proud of the life that you've led. And in that aspect, I want you to be a little more daring, a little more daring, a little more daring. We love those who are artistic. We love those who are inventors. We love those who are writers and poets and dancers and dreamers, because what all of you are doing, those of you that are doing that, is you're imagining something beyond what currently exists, right? The most beautiful artwork comes from an inner place in which, yes, you may be painting a flower or a pear or something, a person, but inside you, there's an activation of your soul star energy that brings into that picture, when it's done that way, an extraordinary amount of light. And so you think about all the great painters, we'll just pick on that for just a moment, Monet, Manet, Renoir, all of them. What made them special? What made them special was that they felt something beyond what others had painted, beyond really what was in that scene, different than a photograph. And they allowed that inner joy, that inner mana, that inner creativity to be expressed in their painting. The same with wonderful dancers and artists of all kinds and writers. They're not just reiterating and repeating what has been before. They're using that God-given energy to create. So in this star analogy that I'm talking about, there is such a power of wisdom and such a power of capacity when joined with the love and heart that all of you already have, can really create beyond where your life is currently, and really, even more importantly, where the world is currently. The wonderful musicians that live in your hearts, right? They don't just repeat someone else's song. They might cover it for an album or something, but the best of them feel something so deeply. And because they're musicians, it comes forth in their songwriting or through the instrumentation that they've chosen. And that resonance, that creativity, that artistry truly fills their life, and therefore the lives of so many others. So I guess what I'm inviting you to do is to find the artist inside you. The artist inside you that wants to have a beautiful garden. Oh my goodness. You know, I can talk about Linan for just a moment. When you arrive at Linan's house, you're stupefied by the beautiful flowers of every kind. And does it take work? Does it take time? Does it take energy? Does it take watering? Does it take all of that? Absolutely. But when you allow yourself to be an artist in that way, first of all, of course, you get to enjoy it. But beyond that, the energy of that whole street and neighborhood, and then everyone who comes, is lifted by that. So that too is being an artist. When you create a beautiful meal and savor everything that's in it, that's also being a creator. So how do you reach this wisdom within if you don't feel like you know what's yours to do? There's a couple of things that I could suggest. And one of them is really not suitable for everyone. And that's the hard part. It's like, oh, my magic wand, I'm just going to wake everybody up and do that. Because it often comes when you're quiet or you're out in nature or you're listening to music or you're in meditation or something like that. And I'm going to just give you the first two words as you're meditating. What if? What if? What if I tried this? What if I did that? What if the world had this? What if the world had that? Because the truth is, every inventor begins, maybe they don't use those words, but that's how they begin. We wouldn't have a light bulb except they thought, well, what if there was a way to contain light in something? And at that time, it was sort of like, what? What if we could create a machine that could fly? You're crazy, you Wright brothers. But again, they broke out of the complacency and the inertia of just doing it the way it had always been done. And therefore, they changed, of course, so much in the world. And hopefully that more things will change again. So airports will work and not be so crowded. So when you allow yourself to think about what if, you activate something in your heart and mind and soul that is the opposite of complacency. It's the opposite of complacency and inertia, because you start to think, well, what if? What if I decided that in my neighborhood, I would find out the name and number of people living in each house and a contact phone number or email or something. So that if something happened, if there was a storm or if the lights went out or something happened, there would be a way to find out if everyone was okay. And of course, I know that exists in some neighborhoods, but certainly not all, right? So it's sort of like when you say what if, it's very different than coming out of your slumber and saying, all right, what do I have to do today? You know, and moving through on that. It starts to create an imagination connected to your heart, mind, and soul that is ready to try something new and doesn't immediately put in the obstacles. Well, you know, maybe if I tried to make a list of neighbors, they would think I was trying to sell them Mary Kay or something. I don't know, you know. And maybe they would. So what? You can say, I'm not selling anything. I just want to have a list in case there's an emergency so we can all find each other. And if you don't want to give me your name and number, that's all right. We'll just mark you out. So you develop, I would say, a little more chutzpah or more courage to just show up and be you in the ways that you find fulfilling but move you more and more into the creative aspect of this is my life, this is my journey, this is my world that I want to leave some of my energy in some way that's delicious and loving and honors me and honors the life that I'm here to lead. There is a great underground of people just like you who don't like the way everything's going right now and who want to be in a world where there's kindness and compassion and community and all the things you already know about. But it takes each person to sort of say, well, what if this? What if I decided that I don't know the names of the firemen at my station, my local station? And God forbid I ever have a fire. I'm going to drive down to the fire station. And since I'm going anyway, maybe I'll bring, I don't know, some homemade brownies or something. And you go down to the local fire station and you say, hi, I live at such and so and such and so. And I just, first of all, wanted to thank you all for being so brave and for taking care of our neighborhood. And my name is this, and could I just find out all these names? And by the way, I brought you some chicken pot pie or brownies or whatever. What you're doing is you're dispelling the disconnection that is so much a part of this inertia that keeps people from being kind and friendly to each other. So I'm giving you very small examples, but that's really how this begins, to realize I want a world of cooperation and community. Those are lovely words, but until each of you and all of us begin to do the things that create that in the world, they're just names, they're just ideas, they don't exist. And so all you have to do as you're meditating or listening to your favorite music is just say to your heart and soul, show me an idea that fills my heart, that's part of my journey. And it begins with what if. So the first step is really to just give yourself some time, right? Give yourself some time and space for this to happen. And then I know you laugh at me sometimes, but I use Samara's English teacher vocabulary sometimes. So there's actually 3 steps. People have told me they like it when I tell them 3 steps versus just talking and talking. So for this new star burst of energy out of inertia and out of complacency, there's really just 3 steps. Find, feel, follow. Find the wisdom within you could call it your higher self, you could call it your inner knowing, you could call it your intuition, whatever it might be. Find it. You can journal and say, are you there? And see who shows up. You can use muscle testing sometimes to see if this right for me or that's right for me or something, right? So you have to find it. And then at first it might feel like I'm making it up, like people have said with channeling and with intuition, well, I think maybe I'm just making it up. Well, maybe a part of you is making it up, but maybe that's a part you want to listen to. So you want to feel it. So again, with something like, and again, I'll just go back to something silly like bringing chicken pot pie to the firemen, better for them than brownies. You got this idea. I think I need to meet the firemen in my area. So you found something and now feel into it. And even if it feels a little uncomfortable in a way to put yourself out like that, if you feel, is this part of living in a world where people know each other's names and have community? And is that the world that I want to work toward? I'm guessing the answer would be yes. So you have found it, you have felt it, and now you follow it. So now you go to the kitchen and you make whatever you feel is right, and you go down to the fire station and say hello. I just wanted to say thank you, bring you these chicken pot pie and learn your names. And I want you to know mine. Wow. You don't ask them their political view. You don't ask them what religion they are. You don't care what color they are or their nationality. You're meeting them on common ground. And that's really the secret, if you will, to all these things I'm talking about. You have this starseed, you have this higher self, you have this wisdom. So don't get complacent. If you want the world to change and you're in it, you have to be one of those daring inventors, writers, dancers, cooks, whatever it would be, to allow it to shift in that way. So you find it, you feel it, and you follow it. And now what starts to happen, it's just like so many things, it's contagious. I can just see some of you, and again, I'll stick with my example for the night. You come back from the fire station and you excitedly tell your husband or your wife or your children or your, neighbor, well, you won't believe what happened. They were so excited to see me, and their names are Joe and Bob, and there's even a woman there, and her name is Jane, and whatever. And you're all excited, and your neighbor's like, what did you do? Huh. And so that inspiration moves into their field of understanding. Whether they do something or don't do something, you've done your part. And so this is the contagion that we want to spread, not more COVID, not more COVID. But you see, ironically, COVID, of course, is airborne. And so what's the lesson behind that? You are breathing in what someone else has breathed out, and vice versa. Literally, you are breathing in what they have breathed out. And so the remedy for that, for COVID, and of course, if you need a shot or medicine or whatever, do whatever you need to do, but understand what has contaminated the air. Yes, it's a virus, but what has made it so toxic in so many cases? There is not an antidote in the air. And the antidote in the air is kindness, compassion, understanding, community, cooperation, all of that. It is what it is. And so in this time that we're in, with all of this disparity and with all of these arguments going on, we don't want you to have to move into that energy and react to it in any way. It doesn't matter who's for who in the presidential election and all that. Vote your heart, vote what you feel, vote what you believe. But understand this, what's in the air right now is something you can change. From fear and conspiracies and judgment and blame and separation and all of that into various groups, and he's this and she's that and all that. You can literally create a common energy that is uplifting, that is compassionate, and that is kind. And so now when people do vote, they won't vote from fear. They'll vote from clarity. And that's all we want, clarity. So how do we clear the air? We do it really quite simply by putting into the air our words, our creations, our actions that support and create the world we'd like to see. and the world we want to live in. The last thing I'll say, because all of you are also these wonderful models for all the children in the world right now. And these children, one way to put it is they're hungry for oxygen. They're hungry for oxygen, creative expression of all kinds, all kinds. And this is something too that you can create. I guess it's okay to talk about Lynette's granddaughter for just a moment. Is that all right? So she was feeling, she's a little girl, she was feeling anxious in the after school care because she was in a room with everything up to, I think, fourth, fifth, sixth graders, and she's just a little one in first grade or kindergarten or something. And so, of course, both Lynette and her daughter were right away, all right, we're going to fix this, we're going to do this, which is very appropriate. We're going to do that. And I said, what if you created a comfort kit for her? So a little thing she takes, and she can only open it after school. And it has something to see, something to smell, something to eat, something to play with. And it's just special for her. And so, of course, Lynette and her daughter went out and got something lovely and put it together, and she took it to school. And the first day was much better. And then on the second day, she opened it to help one of her other classmates. So that's what I'm talking about, something that simple, but that literally changes the energy, the frequency, the air that that little girl had to breathe. And once she had it, once she had her oxygen, now she wanted to help and share with the others. So it doesn't have to be rocket science, unless some of you are rocket scientists, and that's fine. But it's about realizing whatever you have been doing up till now, thank you, more please. Thank you, more please. Not in an onus heavy way, but in a joyous way, to just say, what if I, to find it, to feel it, and to follow it. So, my precious ones, this will be a year in which the world decides to change or not. And each of you can decide to change or not. And what I mean by that is to just reach for the star inside and shine it outside. I love you all so much. And I'm so proud of all of you. So don't make it a job. Make it a creation. Much love. Much love. Namaste.